held after the last webinar. The third position is grabbed by a student from Essex Medical College, Gulbarga, Karnataka, and he is Josh Thomas. The one who reached at the second position is S. Bhanulal, plus 2 student at NSS HSS Kaviyur. And finally, the first prize holder, the cash prize winner sponsored by the Center by Nature is a plus 1 student at NSS HSS Kundamandaram, and he is Aravind V. Hearty congratulations to all the winners and participants. Well done, folks. Today also we have a webinar quiz, and the quiz link will be posted at the end of the session via chat box. It will be only activated after the vote of thanks, and the fastest and accurate answers by yours will be crowned, and a special surprising invitation is waiting for you. So be ready, and best wishes from the side of UL Space Club. So time is 3 and 2. So I'd like to move to the formal introduction. Shajil sir, can I?
Yes, yes.
Okay, sir. Once again, a warm good afternoon to all. Thanks to Varnatan for providing the instructions. I cordially invite all the volunteers, teachers, UL Space Club organizers, students, and all other participants to the 31st session of UL Space Club's webinar series. We, the UL Space Club, is a foundation under the umbrella of Uralungal Labour Cooperative Society, stands for enriching and flourishing the scientific aptitude of students, especially in space field. Within a short time span of 3 years, we conducted many great offline events before the COVID. And exactly in May 2020, in the context of the pandemic era, we began this new journey called the webinar series, and it's going incredibly well for the past 7 months. Today, in the 31st session, actually the last session of this year, we have Dr. K. Rajmohana, ma'am, as the lead speaker on the topic, the wonderful world of insects. We live in a great biosphere, right? But yeah, our thoughts are always up in the sky and beyond the limitations of the horizons. It's true that we are space enthusiasts, but it ain't interrupt us in any way while thinking the things in a wide science aspect. This is distinctly visible and also reflecting in the recent sessions of our webinar series. And today too, we are going to watch it. Renowned writer Ruskin Bond once said, I get inspiration from a lot of things around me, nature, hills, peoples, and even from insects. Little things inspires us. More than that, little things can make panic everywhere, like the pandemic. I think it's an apt example. I remember the class we got from the NIT Calicut Space Camp time by Sujit sir. There he explained how nature and the little beings inspires scientific minds. More than utilizing the insects, it is necessary to understand about the world of insects, which includes their habitat, food capturing challenges us that insects have and we face because them. All we have to learn. In fact, if you visit the NASA's official site, you can get the informations about how insect studies are interrelated to space science and how these scientific fields are interdisciplinary. And the IS, that's insect habitat in International Space Station, enables the studies of the fruit fly to learn how microgravity affects development, nervous system function, movement and behavior, growth, reproduction, aging, gene expression, like that kind of things. And their rhythms or sleep or wake cycles, like that. So today's topic is really supreme and paramount to us too. And we have a lady scientist from Zoological Survey of India, who is the national coordinator of Green Skill Program. It's our privilege to have you here, ma'am. I gladly welcome you to the 31st session of UL Space Club webinar series. Namaste, Rajmohan, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. And after that, we have all core team members of webinar committee here to give you the instructions when it's necessary. And our moderator is, as usual, Shajil sir, the one who controlling and developing our platform in each and every session. And he will gonna introduce our respected speaker. Our first speaker Our chief mentor, Ike Kutisa, the former director of ISRO, who is the backbone of the whole activities of Space Club, is here with us. The whole webinar family, including the eminent scientists all over India, will be with us in this session too. Your Space Club member, Febin, will handle the Q&A session after the talk. And the one who plays the major role in connecting us to UL, Damodaran sir, will be here to express the vote of thanks after the session. Right now, this webinar is recording and streaming in YouTube. All set, good to go. So without any further delays, I welcome the moderator, Shajil sir, to take over the session. Welcome, sir.
Okay, thank you, Sriram. And we are so proud about you in your brilliant making of this kind of environment. And really, it's an environment we are creating for the students. In that environment, you all are developing and growing. We are the elder people are only the tool for you to utilize for these things. And today we are sitting here in the 31st session of our prestigious webinar series. We started in the when the pandemic struck this our country and the world adversity. Then we take it as an opportunity and we move to a very good positive way under the guidance of Ike Kutisa. And all these students motivated us to do these things, and we are able to continue all the whole 2020 with this webinar. Today, in this 31st session of our webinar, we are speaking on the majority of the fauna that's here in this on this earth. And at the beginning of this webinar series, we selected the topics related to space and some other hard science. Now later we go with this webinar. It was an evolutionary process by which we realized that there is no watertight compartment, or there is no compartmentalization for science. Everywhere, everything is science. So we are so happy to discuss about the biological world especially. And today we have the four we got from these 31 webinar. In the beginning of this webinar, we were so it was so difficult to get a lady to present before our students, and we said that we couldn't get it. We know there are a lot of eminent ladies are there, and once we had a lecture from a good lecture from Dr. Susan Epen from BARC, and she was also connected with biology, and she's still with us to support our students. We are so happy to see you here, ma'am. And today we are speaking on the biological foundation. That's the insects. When we are thinking about the insects, as a biology teacher, I will say the basic food chain we made to the student. That's a grasshopper like that. And from there, we are so familiar with these insects. It's very common, but the real thing is that we are totally unaware of the contributions of these great giants creatures on this earth. That's why we selected this topic. And Dr. Rajmohana, we are proudly presenting this scientist who is from Calicut and is based in Calicut, now presently working in Zoological Survey of Calcutta. She is so happy to receive this invitation. And at the same time, we have to remember the support given by Dr. Tamban Melot, who was there with us, and he suggested Dr. Rajmohana to this session, and we are thankful to Tamban sir also for this kind of support to us. And when we are speaking about the connection between these insects and space, as already mentioned by our Sriram, there was the history of Albert and Leica. We know all these things. Before that, these insects go to space for experiments, and they were there, and they are on the earth to support this ecosystem. They provide food even for human beings, and they are contributing a lot to the major food webs on this land. And today I am so happy to introduce our chief guest, Dr. Rajmohana, and he is a scientist E from Zoological Survey of India, and students should know that E is the greatest position in the field of science, and the E is the the high realm of these hierarchy and these things. And she was a student from University of Calicut. We are so proud about you, ma'am. At the same time, he was a student of Dr. T.C. Narendran. He was a well-known zoology academician from University of Calicut, and we are so happy to remember his name also there. And she was awarded with Zoological Survey of India High Performance Award in 2011 and 2012. And she was editorial board member in International Journal, Halter's Zoological Survey of India Publications, Journal of Threatened Taxa, and Cairns Journal of Entomology, Journal of Insect Science, Oriental Insects and Entomology. And she has invited lectures and workshops, around 58 in number, and she is conducting her own research with his PhD scholars in Calicut University and some other Calcutta University also. And she also described about 150 species of insect. We know the Zoological Survey of India that's doing this kind of activity in the case of finding and naming and classifying these zoological wonders on this land. And she has recorded 17 species and 6 genera and 1 subfamily under Insecta. And she has visited British Museum of Natural History and Ohio State University and Nikon Lab, Singapore. And she has conducted several workshops and seminars nationally and internationally. And still he is supporting these students, and she is an eminent zoology scientist, and she is interested in small insects like diaprid fauna. That means the small, very small 4 to 5 millimeter size, this parasitoid wasp that is study. And we are so happy to welcome to this occasion Dr. M. Rajmohana to this forum. Welcome, ma'am. Along with that, we welcome Dr. Susan Ippen and Dr. Tamban Maloth, and our E.K. Kutis are also with us. And I welcome all the students, teachers, and all the supporting members to this forum again. And I invite again our chief guest, Dr. Rajmohana, to deliver her wonderful living presentation. Welcome.
Thank you, Shajin sir, for a wonderful introduction and giving a good background for the talk today. Shall we begin?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then I will do this. Is the screen visible?
Yes, ma'am. It's visible. Please make it a full screen. That's
okay,
all.
Okay. I hope now it is fine.
Okay, it's fine.
Okay. So a very fine good afternoon to all of you. I'm really very happy for this invitation to deliver this talk on wonderful world of insects. I'm grateful to my director, Dr. Kailash Chandra, Zoological Survey of India, for this opportunity. And I'm also thankful for the invitation which I received from Shajil sir, Kuti sir, and of course Dr. Tamban, who introduced me to this particular group. And I feel really delighted that this particular group is managed quite well by our youngsters, and that is what we really want, a dynamic, hardworking and talented youngsters. So all my good wishes for your team, Space Club team members. So let's proceed with today's talk. I'm sure you all are quite familiar about insects. So today we'll first set a background for this talk. Then we'll see what is special about insects in general. Of course, something on the general diversity of insects. Then we'll be going into some details about the 5 mega diverse insect orders, because we don't have time to discuss all the insect orders in detail here. Then before concluding, we will have a small overall overview of insects and man as friends and foes. Then the session will be open to discussion. So this is how I have planned today's session. So to begin with, how many species of organisms are there on Earth? That is a big question. So in 2011, there is a good publication by Mora et al. You can see the link towards the bottom. I have already indicated it. So, 1 minute. In which case, you can download this particular paper and have the details. So 8.7 is an approximate figure which they have arrived with some calculations of the total eukaryotic species, both plants and animals together. So this is exclusive of bacteria, means they come under prokaryotes. So 8.7 million you can confidently quote in any discussions. And there is a plus or minus 1.3 million as a standard error. Of this, 7.7 million are animals and rest are plants. Again, among that, it is an approximate figure. 2.6 million are insects. Next point is the most important. 1.2 million named. What does it mean? 1.2 million named. That means of the 8.7 million, we know only about 1.2. That means a very challenging task is ahead of us to describe and to make the other organisms which are now unknown, to introduce them to science. So among all that, 2.2 million are marine. To summarize it, let's say that 86% of terrestrial species and 91% of marine species still await description. Means this is a job which we are leaving to you people in the sense you youngsters. You have to work on it now to let the world know what all or how much diversity is in front of us. This 1.2 million figure is in 2011. Now the figure is almost 1.5 million. So Zoological Survey of India, the organization where I am working, we usually bring out every year animal discovery. This is a book which is released on a grand scale. Usually we do it during that environmental day functions. So it gives a total number plus summarized details of all the species or additional new species discoveries and also new reports to India, which was made during that current year. So this is 2018 and this book is 2019, which is the most recent one. And accordingly, total animal species in India is 98,616 species. That is the total number of animals reported till date in India. If you add the Protista also among that, then the number will go little bit high. It exceeds 1 lakh. 2161. So next year again we'll be publishing another of this book where you can find the updates. This is just an example of the new discoveries. I was fortunate enough to describe almost 150 species of insects new to science. Among that, just for your curiosity, I have included a few photographs. These are all very small, minute insects. To the size of 2 millimeter to 3 millimeter. They are parasitoids, that is a general term we call them. What are parasitoids and what is their role in this ecosystem and all, we will see in detail after some time. So they come under Hymenoptera, the group of ants, bees and wasps. I'm also working on termites. So I could also describe a few new species and new genera on termites also. Coming back to our animal discoveries or total animal biodiversity, see this much 15 million, 1,055,000 sorry, 1,55,000. I'm a little bit confused. You can read it. This much, 1.5 million it comes roughly. In 40 phyla is the total number of animal species globally. In the classification, you can see phylum Arthropoda is the largest phylum and it accounts to almost 80% of the total animal group, of which insecta, about which we are talking now, accounts to about 66% of total animal known. So that is why so much importance is given to this group. They form the majority of animal kingdom. See this particular graph. 95% are invertebrates. Only the rest of it are vertebrates. Among that 95, see the big pie here. This big section, 82.82. They are arthropods. This is the diversity figure in India, as per the Animal Discovery 2019. So rest of all the groups, you can see very small sections of the pie. So as we told, arthropods constitute a very large portion of our animal kingdom. So insects are considered as the most successful of all living organisms on earth. Capability of flight, then even their small size, then very high fertility rates, then remarkable reproductive abilities, and general adaptive features to the environment. All of them make insects a very successful group. So they are both friends and enemies. As friends means they help us to maintain our ecosystem by taking part in a lot of, or by contributing much to the ecosystem services. For example, as pollinators, as seed dispersers, they carry the seed of plants from one place to another, helping in their propagation. And also this nutrient recyclers in soil, termites and many soil micro insects are there, which are regularly keeping our soil in a healthy situation. Of course, many commercial products are made from insects like honey, silk, shellac, the cochineal dye. Then in research also, because of their very small, that is mean generation time, they are ideal organisms in scientific research. Uh, when we talk about economic significance, because they are known uh, for the damages they do to our economy as pests of agriculture and forestry. We have to study them in detail. We are forced to study them in detail. And also as vectors of diseases. I need not explain, I think, the recent uh, outbreak of dengue, then chikungunya, malaria, all this, I'm sure my little friends are very much aware. So all these are spread by insects. So in nutshell, this particular group is very important as far as human beings are concerned, and also the ecosystem is concerned. One more interesting aspect, human beings came to this earth only 2 million years ago, but these insects have come to earth 350 million years ago. Just imagine who is senior, they or we people. We have to respect them. This is the ultimate statement by our well-known personality, E.O. Wilson. So important are insects and other land-dwelling arthropods that if all were to disappear, humanity probably could not last more than a few months. How much meaningful is the statement? Let's hope that day will never come. See, I'm not going into much detail about the classification and all, but still little bit to begin with. There were many changes in the classification because earlier there was a trend to classify based only on the morphological characters, like winged insects, wingless insects. It was just based on the outward appearance. But after the DNA studies came into practice, based on the phylogenetic relationships, the actual relationships between organisms, the classification started to get revised. So, under phylum Arthropoda, subphylum Hexapoda, this is the position of insects. Columbola, Protura, Diplura, and all you will find classified under insects in our earlier books. But recently, classification has changed. So, even under insecta, this is the basic outline. Archaeognatha means that bristle tail, look very primitive insect looking very similar to our silverfish, but little bit different. Silverfishes come under Zygentoma. Earlier it was called Thysanura. Then all the winged insects means Pterygota. Of course, some of them do not have wings, but in general, they are all coming under Pterygota means with wings. So this is the basic outline of insect classification. So total insect orders globally, the number is 28. Sometimes you will find 29 or even 30, 27 like that. All those are based on, the differences are based on the different classifications which people follow. But as per the tree of life and the all recent major websites and even publications, total insect order can be considered as 28, and India we have 25. I just briefly introduce them to you. Archaeognatha, bristle-tail, they are the most primitive. Then Zygentoma or silverfish, they are also primitive. Then comes mayflies, Ephemeroptera. They have a very short lifespan, means the adult are having very short lifespan. They don't have a well developed digestive or alimentary canal, and means they cannot feed. The adults don't feed at all. Then dragonflies and damselflies coming under Odonata, order Odonata. I'm sure you all will be very familiar of this particular group, little bit colorful, and you can see them plenty near the water bodies. They're aquatic insects actually, because they're immature. The larvae are aquatic. Grasshoppers coming under Orthoptera. Cockroaches and termites coming under Blatodia, order Blatodia. See, earlier termites were considered as a totally different order, insect order, but recent molecular evidences have proved that they are sister groups. So again, they both of them are now considered under one insect order, Blatodia. Praying mantis, I'm sure you will be very much familiar. It's very interesting to watch the mantis, the movements of the mantis. Sometimes they will come indoor, inside our home also, near the tube lights and all. So, or next time when it comes to your home, please watch it and how it feeds. It's very interesting. Then stick insects and leaf insects. To see them, you have to go to the field, into the little bit wilderness. Then you will feel a grass. Sorry, you will feel a stick of a grass is moving, and on a very careful observation, you will find it as a stick insect. And also the leaf insects, you will feel them just as a leaf, like a cashew nut leaf and all. It even will have veins and also look like small this blemishes and blotches on the leaves. These insects will be having. So only when they move, you come to know that it is something living. So that those insects come under Phasmatodea, order Phasmatodea. Then stone flies, Plecoptera, not very common. Web spinners, Embioptera, they are also not very common. Seen only in the crevices and the little dark corners, very soft-bodied insects. Earwigs, of course, I know you would have seen with a two pincer-like tail segment. Then book lice, bark lice, of course the lice in our head come under Socodia. Parasitic insects, the lice are parasitic insects. Then thrips, very minute, small insects which you will see inside the flowers. Very easily you can see them inside the chrysanthemum flowers and all. Then aphids, true bugs, and this is a very big group coming under Hemiptera. We will discuss them in detail. Beetles and weevils coming under order Coleoptera. Again, we will discuss them in detail. Antlions, lacewings coming under Neuroptera. They may superficially look like Odonata, means this dragonflies and damselflies, but they are different. Their antenna, you can easily identify them with the long antenna they are having. Antlions, I am sure, are very familiar to you. Like the larvae of these insects, they dig small holes in the sand and wait for an ant to fall inside that small pit. So that is why they are called antlion. Of one particular group only, of not for all the neuropterans. Then true flies coming under Diptera, like our housefly, mosquito, all come under Diptera, having two wings. That is one pair of wing. The second pair of wing is converted into a balancing organ for flight. Flea, You would have seen the fleas on the body of your pets. If you have cats, dogs in your home, if you just go and see, search among their body fur, you will find the fleas. Again, they are parasitic. Scorpion flies, Mycoptera. See, you can see that a particular an interesting snout. These are not very common. Even we find it very rarely in the forest, Ranga. Why it is called scorpion flies? Because their tail segment of this insect very much resemble to that of a scorpion. Then caddis flies, Trichoptera, though they look like a moth, but they don't have that kind of scales on their wings. And this is also quite a diverse groups, but we don't know much about them. They are also aquatic. Aquatic in the sense their larval forms breed in water. The very familiar Lepidoptera, which includes butterflies and moths. Then we will be discussing that in detail. Then Hymenoptera, bees, ants, wasps all come under Hymenoptera. So of the 25 insect orders found in India, we discussed or briefly on 22. The rest 3 are Megaloptera or Dobson flies are there. Then snake flies, those are not very common. And also Strepsiptera, they are very small, parasitic, twisted winged, very small group. So those 3 I'm not included in the photographs here. And recent discovered groups like Mantophasmatodia, that gladiators, then rock crawlers, Grylloblattodia and Zoraptera. These 3 are not found in India. So that is how 25 plus 23, the total insect order coming under 28. This is the basic classification, a very favorite graph of all entomologists. Entomologists are people who learn about insects. So what does this graph indicate? As you can see, this is a big section here, written 38% Coleoptera. So that means among all the insect groups, this is the most diverse, means most of the species, majority of the species are coming under beetles and weevils, Coleoptera, followed by Hymenoptera, Diptera and Lepidoptera. Hymenoptera, as I told you, you can also refer to the figures here, pictures here, bees and wasps. Diptera, of course, our common mosquitoes and flies, that group. Lepidoptera, again butterflies and moths. Then only come Hemiptera, which are bugs, aphids, many insects are there. So this is the basic data on our diversity, insect diversity. Again, little bit that in-depth hexapoda we have already discussed while talking on insect classification. So this is the whole of arthropoda. See how big is the group, hexapoda, and among that the major insect orders. See, just now we discussed Coleoptera, and in brackets you can see the total number of species from the world. That is 3,87,000 species. Lepidoptera, then Diptera, Hymenoptera, Hemiptera and Orthoptera, the grasshoppers. So this is how the numbers are partitioned among insects. See, these numbers and figures, they change every day, every second when new discoveries are made. So this don't take the numbers, the exact figure. This is just for an overall idea, like which are the most abundant groups, just to give you a broad picture of the situation. So just what we have discussed, mega diverse insect orders, Coleoptera, Lepidoptera, Diptera, Hymenoptera and Hemiptera. So these are the major groups, and we will see a little bit of details about these groups. I'm sure if you see the photographs in detail, you would have seen each one of them. See, these are all family wise, a representative of each family. Common families only I have given, because even to talk on one single family, it will take several classes or several hours. So just to show you the overall glimpse of the colorful world of insects, I have added a photograph of the most common representative family. Phasalidae, this